Hello, good afternoon all. How are you all? Hope everything is going well. And during these corona days, we are experiencing a new mode of education, a new mode of studying. I'm taking the classes from here and you're sitting in your home and attending the classes, isn't it? But before this, when you went to school, how did you go? Some of us use bus, some others use car, some may use bicycle, some may use an auto, and many of us used to walk to school also. And now I want to know how many of you use a bus to go to school? Yes, many of us use bus, isn't it? Now imagine you are traveling in a bus and you got a window seat. And you are so happy and you are enjoying the sights outside the window. Suddenly, you saw an old man standing next to you. What will you do? Will you give your seat to that man? Very good. You would stand up and give your seat to that elderly person. Won't you? Okay, now you imagine someone is coming and forcing you to stand up from your seat. By saying that, stand up, you don't deserve a seat because you are not fair as me. You are in a black complexion. Now, how did you feel? What will you do? If someone is asking you to stand up from your seat from a bus because you are black in color, what will you do then? Yes, you may feel sad or sometimes you may feel angry, isn't it? And today we are going to learn about a woman who reacted and fought against such a situation that existed in this society. So before going to our lesson, I will introduce you a new word, and that is racial discrimination. I know many of you might have heard this word before. And do you know what does it mean? Yes, you were forced to stand up from your seat in the bus because you are black in complexion. And that is racial discrimination. Racial discrimination is when someone is treated differently because of their skin color. Now, see these pictures? Well, the name of the lady who reacted against the social discrimination that existed in the society in our lesson is Rosa Parks. And the name of our chapter is Rosa Parks Sat Still. This part of our lesson is taken from the biography of Rosa Parks. And now do you know what is meant by a biography and an autobiography? Look at this. A biography is the life events of a person written by another person. And an autobiography is the life events of a person written by that person itself. Hope you understand. Okay, now watch this for a while.
Rosa Parks lived in Montgomery, a city in Alabama. At that time, in the south of the United States, blacks weren't allowed to go to the same restaurants or to the same schools as whites. And on buses, blacks had to sit in the back, whereas whites sat in the front and in the middle. That was called segregation. One day, on December the 1st, 1955, Rosa Parks was sitting on a bus on her way home. Then, a white passenger got on the bus, but all the seats were taken.
Go to the back of the bus and give me your seat. I see no reason why I should give you my seat just because I'm black. I'm tired. I'm not going to move.
What? I can't believe this. Driver, this woman refuses to leave her seat. Call the police. Don't make a fuss. Leave your seat immediately, or we'll have to arrest you.
I won't give up my rights. You can arrest me. I'm tired of being treated like a second-class citizen. For 42 years, I have been discriminated against. I don't mind going to prison.
A few days later, the African American community reacted to Rosa Parks' arrest. A young clergyman, Martin Luther King, joined the movement.
Boycott all city buses on December 5th. We are asking every Negro to stay off the buses to protest against the arrest of Rosa Parks. Don't ride the buses to work, to town, to school, or anywhere on Monday. If you work, take a cab or walk.
The boycott was a success. Black people did not take the city buses. It became a real problem for the bus company, which was losing a lot of money. And this lasted for more than one day, for more than a month, for more than a year.
And now, the news from Alabama. The boycott of the city buses has finally ended, 381 days after the arrest of Rosa Parks. Today, the Supreme Court has declared bus segregation illegal in Alabama.
All forms of segregation were abolished in the United States 12 years later, in 1968. Rosa Parks became one of the most famous Black Americans of the 20th century. She was called the mother of the civil rights movement. She died in 2005 at the age of 92.
I hope you enjoyed the story. And now, you may please take your textbook and read the profile and the first part of the lesson, Rosa Parks sat still. And don't forget to underline the unfamiliar words, okay? Okay, now let me ask some question. Whose biography is this? Yes, we know. This is the biography of Rosa Parks. Okay, the next question. What does mean by a biography? Yes, a biography is the life events of a person written by another person. In which vehicle did Rosa Parks enter? Yes, Rosa Parks entered in a bus. Did she get a seat in the bus? Yes, she got a seat in the bus. From which place did our story happen? As our story happened from Montgomery, a place in Alabama located in America. Rosa Parks was an African American civil rights activist whom the United States Congress called the First Lady of Civil Rights and the mother of the freedom movement. Her birthday, February 4, and the day she was arrested, December 1, have both become Rosa Parks Day, commemorated in both California and Ohio. On December 1, 1955, Rosa Parks refused to move, and this transformed a million lives. Rosa Parks had been working all day. Work had been heavier than usual. At the end of the day, there was only one thought in her mind. She wanted to sit down. But it was getting late, and everybody was going home. Rosa walked to the bus stop and got on a bus. There were many vacant seats. She paid her fare and sat down in the nearest seat. The bus was nearly empty. Rosa felt grateful. Her feet were very tired. They really needed a rest. That was, however, something only Rosa knew. The driver of the bus knew nothing about her feet. He did not even know her name. But he saw that she was not white. She was a black passenger. And that, he thought, was all he needed to know about her. But he was making a mistake. It was a mistake that cost his company a lot of money. Our story begins in America, in a town called Montgomery. Rosa was an ordinary woman with a job in a dressmaker's shop. The day was an ordinary working day. It was the first day of December in the year 1955. Rosa had a loving family. She envied nobody. Her manners were mild. She spoke in a quiet, soft voice. She always obeyed the laws of the country and broke no rules. But in those days, not all laws and rules were fair. That day, when Rosa sat in that seat on that bus, she had no thought of breaking any rule. It happened before the bus started. When the warning bell rang, passengers rushed in. Many of them were white Americans. Each time a white passenger climbed into the bus, a black passenger got up from his seat and moved away. The rule was simple and clear. Black passengers had to give up their seats when white passengers came in. They had to get off the bus and go round to the back door. They could then get on the bus again as standing passengers. Now, let's get familiarized with some words. Civil rights. It is the right of citizens. Refuse. Refuse means to reject. Transform. Transform means to change. Vacant. Vacant means empty. Grateful. Grateful means thankful. Envy. Envy means jealous. Mild. Mild means gentle. This incident happened years ago on a December 1, 1955. And what happened to Rosa Parks that day? Well, let me tell about Rosa Parks to you. Rosa Parks was a very ordinary woman who worked in a dressmaker's shop. She had a very loving family. She obeyed everyone and she spoke to everyone with a quiet and soft voice. She had very good manners in all. She always obeyed all the laws and rules of the country. But all the laws and rules at that time were not fair, okay? And one day, after her work, she got very tired and she was heading back to home. For that, she entered in a bus. And she was so happy to see a lot of vacant seats in the bus. She felt like her legs needed rest. And she go and sat in a seat. When the warning bell rang, a lot of people rushed into the bus. And many of the people were white Americans. In America, there were two groups of people, black Americans and white Americans. White Americans were fair and white in complexion, while black Americans were black in complexion. And there were always racial discrimination towards this black Americans during that time. And there was a rule in the bus. That is, whenever a white passenger enters into the bus, the black passenger sitting has to stand up and go back to the bus and stand throughout his journey. This was the rule. Do you believe this rule is fair? Of course, this is not a fair rule, but they practiced this years before in America. And still, there are different kinds of discrimination on the basis of the skin color existing all over the world. I'm going to ask you some questions. Are you ready? Well, who was Rosa Parks and where did she work? Rosa Parks was an ordinary woman who worked in a dressmaker's shop. What do you understand by racial discrimination? Racial discrimination is when someone is treated differently because of their skin color. What was the only thing that the driver of the bus knew about Rosa Parks? Driver of the bus only knows that she was a black passenger. What was the only thing in Rosa Parks' mind when she left her workspace? The only thing in Rosa Parks' mind was that her feet were really tired and they needed a rest. Can you explain the character of Rosa Parks? Rosa Parks envied nobody. Her manners were mild. She spoke in a quiet, soft voice. She always obeyed the laws of the country and broke no rules. What happened after the warning bell in the bus rang? When the warning bell in the bus rang, the passengers rushed in. What was the rule in the bus? Black passengers had to give up their seat when white passengers came in. They have to get off the bus and go round to the back door. These are the events so far happened in this story. Can you arrange it in the correct order? Okay, take your notebook, take your pen and now write it down in the correct order. Have you completed? Now look at this. This is the correct order of the events so far happened in our story. So far we were discussing about the story of Rosa Parks. In fact, this is not a story but a real life incident. Rosa Parks, after her work, got tired and she was heading back to her home. She entered into a bus and she saw a lot of vacant seats there and she chose one seat and sat there. And when the warning bell in the bus rang, many white passengers rushed into the bus. And there was a rule in the bus that whenever a white passenger enters into the bus, the black passenger who is sitting has to stand up. So our Rosa Parks was a black passenger, and let us wait what will happen in our story the next. And before winding up, I'll show you a video of a speech done by a child named Ziana Elephant. Please watch the video.
I come here today to talk about how I feel, and I feel like that we are treated differently than other people, and I don't like how we're treated, and just because of our color doesn't mean anything to me. I believe that
you're doing great. You're doing a great job.
Don't stop. Do not stop.
we We are black people and we shouldn't have to feel like this. We shouldn't have to protest because y'all are treating us wrong. We do this because we need to and have rights.
Go ahead. Let her talk. Go ahead.
I've been born and raised in Charlotte, and I never felt this way till now. And I can't stand how we're treated. And it's a shame that our fathers and mothers are killed, and we can't even see them anymore.
That's right.
It's a shame that we have to go to the graveyard and bury them. And we have tears, and we shouldn't have tears. We need our fathers and mothers to be by our side. And Mom and Dad.
Thank you very much.
Well, after watching the video, what do you feel? Yes, racial discrimination, a social evil still existing in our society. And dear children, don't ever show any discrimination towards your friends or any other people only because of their skin color. And I hope you all will grow as a good citizen, living in harmony and understanding each other. Here is an activity or a homework for you to do before our next class, and that is to write a speech on racial discrimination. Okay, write a speech and prepare to present it in the class. See you all.